Let's talk about this a little bit more with Mark Kimmit. He's the former Assistant Secretary of State for Political and Military Affairs, joining us from Washington, D.C. Mark, thank you so much for your time. When we talk about the troops on the border, the Russian troops, and this military buildup, I'd like you to explain, firstly, the military weapons that Russia would have now and the capabilities, considering there are an estimated 90,000 troops on that border.
Well, I think what you're going to look at is a very large conventional force, which is a combination of tanks, artillery, significant number of troops. And they could, in fact, conduct aggression inside of Ukraine that would look very similar to conventional warfare that we haven't seen for many, many years. It is a force that could probably occupy up to the Dnieper in very short period of time. Personally, I don't think NATO would react militarily against that force. And it could well be that if they did this quickly, that it could well be that the Russian forces go all the way through the entirety of Ukraine, much the way they went through Czechoslovakia, the way they went through Hungary in the old days. So it's a pretty potent force, pretty conventional force, artilleries, rocket, tanks, airplanes. We've seen this before with the Russians, and it certainly is a potent force.
So, Mark, you say you don't think NATO would react militarily. What do you think they would do, considering that Ukraine is not a member of NATO?
Well, that's the whole point. The real question that countries would have to take back to their parliaments and take back to their people is, why do we want to put our soldiers at risk, possibly dying, probably dying, to save a country that we have no treaty alliances with and candidly is quite far away? So this may be a test that Putin is throwing down to see the resolve of NATO. If by these very threats and by these very intimidations, he can drive a wedge into NATO resolve and NATO unity, he's got a large victory without having to fire a shot.
Okay, Mark, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Speaking to us from the U.S. Capitol, thanks a lot for your time.